we have one of our members, Rishi, with us in the hot seat. And he's going to tell us a bit about his journey, where he started from, what he did before. So we're just going to dive right into it. Hi, Rishi. How are you?
Hey everyone. Yeah, really good. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
No
Good,
worries.
nice.
Thanks
Been a
for
busy week?
agreeing it.
Been a busy week for you?
Yeah, coming up to half marathon in the next couple of days, so just trying to get my mind set and right for that.
Amazing, amazing. And when was the last time you actually ran like a half marathon?
It was back 2016, so it's good 8 years ago.
Oh my God, amazing.
At least 10, 15 kilos heavier than I was now, so it'll be interesting to see what time I come out with in 2 days.
Rishi, quick
Wow.
question. Did you only restart the running since joining the program, or were you running prior to it?
Yeah, I think I was on and off,
Okay.
kind of running prior, but I think in the back of my head, I was always worried about getting injured.
Okay.
I didn't really have any structure, but I think I've fully got back into it since joining the Affinity program.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah,
Nice.
thanks for joining us today. I guess the one of the main reasons behind having you on is to get like a first person view on what your change has been like, how the program has been, and then just to share any like top tips, words of advice, and motivation for people in or outside of the program on how to get started on their journey and what to do in moments when they're demotivated or feel like their back is up against the wall and things like that. So we're going to interrogate you, mate. Are you ready for
Yeah.
Let's do it.
it?
Right. Okay, nice. Okay, so Rishi's been with us, I think, for about 7 months now, coming up to month 8, right, Rishi? I think.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself. Obviously, you're Rishi, so we know that. But what do you do for work? Children, family? A bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm a services engagement manager for a software company based in London. So I kind of work half from home, half from the office, which also can be a little bit kind of dangerous when it comes to watching what you eat on both sides. And I've just actually got a just over 4 months little baby boy, Jay. So yeah, that was actually one of the kind of driving forces for me to actually reach out to yourselves and start this journey.
Awesome, mate.
Nice.
And just leading on to that, why did you want to change? Like, what was the big reasons for reaching out 7, 8 months ago?
Yeah, so I'd actually been trying to lose weight on and off for a good 3 or 4 years. And I was always really good at the exercise part. I could go to the gym, or I could spend time in the gym. I could spend time walking. I didn't really have any kind of structure to it. So I would, find a program, stick to that, and then 2 weeks later, something else would pop up on social media saying, "Oh no, you should try this new exercise," and I jump onto that. So I wasn't really kind of seeing any good results. And then when me and my wife realized, we were expecting, that kind of really drove a kind of mental reset for me and started making me think that this is my chance to kind of start the next stage of my life, being a dad in a much healthier way, and really kind of drive being a better role model for my son and being able to pass on a healthier way of living without looking like a hypocrite.
Do you feel like
Nice.
you're on your way there or getting there or living it
Yeah,
right now? Do you feel like it's, you're achieving some of those things?
yeah, totally. I think
Good.
yeah, the progress so far has been amazing, and I know we've still got more to do. I'm looking forward to that. But I think one of my kind of driving kind of mantras when I'm out in the out, doing some running or out doing the gym, or even if I just can't be bothered to get out of bed, is just think how proud Jay will be of me so far, and how much more I can do going forward.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah, it's so nice. So nice to do it just for the children as well. So give me a day in the life of Rishi before you met Nikhil and myself in Affinity. What was your ideal day like before you met us?
It was bad. I remember actually when I first started with you, Jamie, you said you wanted to kind of just see the first week of what I kind of typically eat and how I behave. And I messaged you saying, do you really want to see me at my worst? Because you're about to see something scary. Like snack time was all the time. Whenever I wanted to snack, I had a snack. There was no real portion control with my food. I think that was my biggest problem. I would eat whatever I wanted. I would continue eating because it tasted nice or I felt like I wanted it. I actually used to drink like Pepsi in the morning because I like the taste of Pepsi.
Oh my God.
I would, have something sweet for breakfast, and then my mind would say, oh, you need something salty or savory, so let's go and have a packet of crisps. And there was no actual kind of behavioral control around that. I could still, like I said, do my gym and do my running, but the food aspect was terrible. I'd stay up late, playing games and watching movies. So that would then lead into me kind of midnight snacking, overeating before I got into bed. There was no real proper rest between those days either. So I think that was a real big kind of killer for me, waking up tired and thinking, oh, you know what I need? A chocolate or a coffee, mixed with all the kind of sugar that you get with Starbucks coffees or whatever it is. So yeah, it was pretty bad in terms of how I was kind of treating myself.
And this is like just how an average day would go on and on and on and on.
That's right. Yeah.
It's almost like a vicious cycle, isn't it? Because you stay up late, you eat, then you poor quality sleep, you're back up early the next day, and as some sort of like pick me up instant gratification to get the day going again, what do you reach for by impulse? It's like something sort of, again, highly processed, like really, really tasty, high in sugar, fat, calories and things like that. So it's like you get stuck in this trap of going around in circles.
I think even worse than that, you'd start the day off with good intentions, but because you have stayed up late the night before, or you have been really kind of I guess a little bit lazy as well. Like it wasn't just waking up and getting into the routine of doing things. I'd wake up, go and sit down, watch TV for about an hour, not really plan my day through, and then I'd have no idea of what I was having for breakfast. So I'd grab something on the way. I'd go to McDonald's and grab something from there, or Greg's, or whatever it is. So again, I just wasn't helping myself, and it just felt like everything was out of control.
Yeah. I read this really interesting concept that as adults now in this day and age, what we have tended to do is almost treat ourselves. We feel the need to want to stay up at night because we've worked so hard in the day, and it's like, oh no, it's finally my me time, so I deserve to be up and play games and watch TV and watch movies. Whereas actually the best thing that you should be doing for yourself and what you really deserve is to rest and go to sleep and get a proper night's sleep and things like that. And I think a lot of adults think like that. And even me and Dimp sometimes with the baby, we're like, it's been go all day. Finally we've got a moment to ourselves. Like, why would we waste our time in sleep right now? Let's watch a movie, right? Like, this is finally the time that we're getting to do these things, but it can end up biting you in the butt if you're not careful.
Yeah. And I think you don't realize this when you're at that age, when you're at a young age. You realize it when you're at my age, guys, when you're older, and actually sleep is really, really important. And you want to go to bed at 8 p.m. or 8:30, you're in bed and knockout. But
at least on a work night, right? On a work night when you have to be switched on for your jobs. A lot of the people that we work with have demanding jobs. Imagine rocking up to your demanding job tired and then fueling yourself with rubbish and not the right things. It's just then everything just stresses increase by 10, right? The stress level is just through the roof because you now feel pressure from work because you haven't slept well. And then that ties over into the next day. Your tasks aren't getting completed on time. So you're now time pressures at work because you're not productive enough. And it all ties into sort of just getting that good quality rest at night. I think a lot of people's issues with the snacking and the food choices, and me and Jamie always say this to people, like, what's the biggest hack for stopping midnight snacking? And I think people look to us and want us to say, like, give them a shopping list of, go out and buy these special snacks and things like that. And honestly, it is just get to bed early. Just go to bed.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was dealing with that stress by just snacking. Like I would easily eat 3 or 4 different chocolates throughout the day. Or I'd have a bag of M&Ms next to my laptop. So I would say, I'll reward myself with a handful of M&Ms once I've got one task done. That was my way of dealing with stress. And also, for some reason, I felt like I owed myself every meal had to be a fantastic meal. So it had to be followed by a dessert, or it had to be a starter and a main. Like there was never just eat this and get on with what you're supposed to be doing. It was take time out, have a drink, have a main, have a starter, find some dessert, make it a proper meal experience every single time I ate, which that also just didn't help either.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. You can have that, but sometimes, right? But not every single meal needs to be this yummy, like, let me do the happy food dance with every single meal.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it just has to be like, get it in you, get going, crack on with your day.
You don't need crisps and Pepsi for breakfast.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. No, but you say these things, Rishi, and you may feel like you're the only person, but me and Jamie have been sat in this seat and we've had this conversation with so many people, and we know so many people live their lives in this sort of way. So you're not the only one, man.
I mean, I've done it. I've been in that situation after having children. I'm sure Nick's been in that situation when he was a student, when he was younger.
Oh, I even
having
found
chocolate
myself
in the
doing
morning,
it,
having
like
crisps
sort
in the
of
morning.
maybe in like the first couple of weeks that Rio was born, and I was just reaching for the wrong things. The difference is now, and the difference that we teach people is, you're not going to come through the program and these things are going to go away for life. Okay, it's taken you years to build these habits. It's going to take a while, but you now have the self-awareness that when they do happen and you have a week like that, or you have some days like that, you're like, oh, okay, cool. You know what? I need to rein it in. I think where people go wrong is they never rein it in, or they tell themselves they'll start Monday and then Monday never comes. And then again, I'll start next week. Never comes. Then you're like 6 months down, you're like, shit, I've gained 20 kilos. Like, what have I done? When it's like, to a point where it's getting a bit dangerous. But you just have that self-awareness now. But you're right, Jamie. You don't realize, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't realize. We've all been there. Seriously.
It's that all or nothing mentality as well. Like I would start something on a Monday, get to maybe Wednesday, found that I'd had 3 or 4 chocolates and think, oh, I've already messed this up. I'll start again on Monday. And I've got 4 days between Wednesday and
you're always in that denial. You're always in that denial phase that, oh, it's fine. It's fine. I'm eating healthy. It's fine. I've only had 1 chocolate. It's fine. I'll start tomorrow. It's that little mind, the voice in your mind telling you that everything's okay. Don't worry.
But also, like when you fall off the wagon, you think, oh, that's it. I've ruined absolutely everything. It's not going to happen. And then you would stop doing it for like 3 months. And then I would think, okay, now I need to do something about it again. Let me start on Monday. And one little hiccup would throw me off that wagon so quickly.
The other thing that I used to, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, is you would fall off the wagon and then you tell yourself you'll get back on the wagon, but you do something drastic to get back on the wagon, which is that sort of all or nothing mindset.
Yeah.
And that's the drastic thing. Might be like, just for the ease of this conversation, it might be like, you know what, I'm going to eat 1,200 calories, and you drop your calories really, really low. And you do it for 3 or 4 days, and you would then give up and you'd end up binging out. And then on Monday, in your mind, your logic is like, okay, I screwed up the last 3 or 4 days. This week, what I'm going to do is I'll do 1,000 to make up for the days that I didn't do. And that will sort me out. And then you just keep setting yourself these unrealistic things of how you're going to suddenly fix everything. Yeah. But you never do, and it just never works because you're constantly.
It never works. You're basically just effing it up every week. I've done it. I've been there.
The other thing
I used to go low. I used to go low on calories like on Tuesday, and then Friday comes, and I'd be like, I'm so hungry. Like, let's get a takeaway on Saturday. Let's go out on Sunday, and then just eff it up on the weekend.
And then on Monday, you tell yourself you fix it by going lower.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you know what? I screwed it on the weekend, so let me just do 900 rather than whatever it was. Yeah.
I know, because like, oh, someone's getting married in 6 months, and I need to look good, or I need to look good for my next holiday. Then I get to that point in life where that person's getting married, and I'm still looking the same.
Yeah. I also used to do it with workouts as well, and now that's why I'm just like, get it done early. So I used to always tell myself like, okay, I missed my workout today. Okay, it's fine. There's still 4 more days left, so I'll do a workout on Saturday, Sunday, or I'll do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then I miss it, and I'm like, okay, you know what? To make up for it next week, rather than doing 3 workouts, I'm going to do 4. And then that 4 would never happen. And then you kind of try and make this add-on thing. Oh, you know what? Next week I'll do 5, and I'll be back on track with it. And it's just, again, just chasing your tail, trying to get to where you were. Whereas if I had just done it early in the morning, done my 3, I wouldn't be in this position.
Exactly.
To catch up. Anyway,
right, Nick, let's stop talking a bit. Let's let Rishi talk a bit now.
Rishi, like, can you just tell us a little bit about where you are now in terms of, results? how long you've been working with us, like just where you are now with everything, energy, mood, mindset. Give us a little bit of a...
Yeah, so I think I got in touch with you guys in April, so it's about 7 or 8 months. And yeah, I mean, what a change. I've gone from extra large in my t-shirts to medium. I've gone from 36-inch trousers to about 32 inches, down about, I think, 22 kilos now. So much more energy, so much more confidence. I think the first thing I noticed when working with you both was it's not all salads and it's not all workout twice a day, 5 days a week. And actually, Jamie, I told you I had a kind of geeky data point for you. So since I've started working with you guys, I've spent about 160 hours in the gym or running, which sounds like a lot. But actually, there's been over 5,000 hours in kind of days or just normal hours since we've actually worked together. So it's about 4% of the time that I've been working with you guys has just been on exercise. That's not a lot. All of the rest has been around eating properly, having a proper plan of what we eat, having that the bank of simple, easy, repeatable meals has been a game changer for me. Having better behaviors around the social elements. And it just makes me think that I was good at that 4% before I joined you guys, but I was expecting to get the results I have now with just doing 4% of effort. But now I'm prioritizing what I eat, sleeping well, controlling myself in terms of that social environment and seeing much better results for it. I'm actually, like I said, running faster and with less injuries than I was 8 years ago when I thought I was in my prime. And that's just mind-blowing to me.
Really good result. That is an amazing stat that you actually pulled back and sort of had a look to figure out.
I like my data, yeah.
So 160 hours when in fact over the last 8 months there's been over 5,000 hours. So yeah, it just goes to show that, you know, the output that you have to give in terms of training it's there. You do have to do it, but it's not as much as some people think that it needs to be. You know, we're not spending hours per day in the gym over here. In fact, a lot of it is around keeping you accountable, giving you guidance around nutrition and staying sort of consistent with it around socials and things like that.
I think that's what you both have really given me, that structure around it's not just what you do in the gym or outside, but that structure around the kitchen. That's what's really kind of driven the results that I've seen. I mean, I am down from, I think, about 40% body fat to about 18.5 right now. And it's all been about making sure I am within my calories. And Nico, I know you've said this a lot on podcasts before, but if you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. And that was my problem before. I just assumed I was in a calorie deficit, but I wasn't going down. The simple fact is you're just not in a calorie deficit if you're not losing that weight. Like
it's like, I mean, we tell so many like members and people that we meet, even friends and family I meet, and they're always telling me, oh, I can't lose the weight, I'm eating so well, I walk, I exercise, but they just don't get it. Like if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not gonna lose the fat, but they can make any excuses in the world.
It's a hard thing to come to terms with as well.
It is.
You know, not being in a calorie deficit or wanting to almost, you have to kind of admit to yourself at one point, like, you know, yeah, you know what, I am not in a calorie deficit. But it's hard to admit that. But the thing that I like is like you have to know that you're in a calorie deficit, and I mean you have to know, like, be certain about it, be willing to bet your life on it. You can't think that you're in a calorie deficit. It's not like, you know, oh, I think I am, or I kind of was, and things like that. And that's the difference over here. You know, like you are absolutely bang on certain that I have been in that calorie deficit, and that's why it's been such a linear sort of experience.
So there's a question actually I want to ask both of you, that because all three of us here have been in a calorie deficit and lost weight because of it. Yeah, so I want to ask both of you a question, just going off track a bit. So knowing that when you were in a calorie deficit, did you not feel that you had better sleep being in that calorie deficit? You had more energy being in that calorie deficit? So people who don't know if they're in a calorie deficit or not, or they're not in a calorie deficit, all these things wouldn't be working the right way either, right? Like you wouldn't be getting really good sleep, you wouldn't be full of energy, like your skin looks great, your hair looks great, your mood is great when you're in a calorie deficit, because you actually don't need all that food that you're overeating on, because that actually makes you lethargic and tired and feel like not doing anything, feel like not going for a walk, craving for more chocolates and sweets and crisps and things like that.
It's
So
the healthy eating
like,
though, Jamie. I wouldn't say necessarily the calorie deficit makes you feel like that. It's probably because
obviously, yeah,
by
it is what you
default, when
eat
you're
as
in the
well.
when you're in a calorie deficit, you're picking healthier things, which then
Yeah.
in turn makes you feel that way. So absolutely, absolutely. There are times like, you know, now when I want to lose, when I say I lose weight, I say it loosely. Now when I want to lose weight, I'm talking about a few kilos just to get leaner for a holiday. Now it can feel like a shit a little bit, but it's not because I'm overweight and lethargic and, you know, eating so much and stuff like that. But absolutely, when I was in my larger days and I was losing weight, I was feeling good throughout the process. It wasn't an energy sapping process. Like, it shouldn't feel like an energy sapping process if done correctly.
And actually, you bring up about the healthy eating, but I still accounted for having one chocolate a day. Right. So it was the small chocolate. I think it was the 𝐾𝐿, 100 calories. Fine, I'll account for that. I need that because I know that I will binge and crave if I completely cut it out. So I'll account for it and make all of the other calories kind of count, and make sure they're kind of fighting for their place to make it into my plate. So you'd be looking at the food that you have. And well, I was actually telling my brother, who's actually also joined the program, that I was still eating like a grilled cheese sandwich during my weight loss, but I wasn't having two like I was previously. I was having one with a bit of salad on the side. Now I was still having jacket potato. I was having one jacket potato, not four, like I previously used to. I wasn't washing that down with a big glass of Pepsi and then a donut after. And I was having more salad on the side. So it didn't feel like a kind of crash or fad diet for me, because I was still eating the things I enjoyed. I was just having a lot more control around the portion size, and I was adding volume with healthier options on the side with salads, or maybe just the different ingredients that you're using.
Absolutely. So it's just like I guess it's the balance then. That's what you're describing to me right now. It's just like balance. You've still got to eat the things that you know and love, but you've cut down the portions. And what I like to say to people is, if you can finish the day going, oh, you know what, I can do that again tomorrow, you're going to get your result, because ultimately a result is built on, can you do it day in, day out? If you're finishing each day going, oh, got another day of this, then you're more likely to fall off the wagon with it, right? So yeah, 𝐾𝐿 is the thing that sort of made you at the end of each day realize, okay, cool, you know what, I can do this again tomorrow because I know that I get my sweet thing sort of at the end of the day almost. And you just kept on cracking on with it. Cool.
As opposed to completely cutting out all of the stuff that you like and then having one small hiccup and eating a whole box of Ferrero Rochers, which has happened to me as well.
Oh my God, it's happened to Ferrero Rocher, is the best. Happens to everyone with those. Okay, so how do you go about your day now? So waking up in the morning, what is your daily routine, day in the life now of Rishi?
There's a lot more I guess structure and routine to it. Even though I'm now not trying to lose weight, I'm more kind of trying to maintain. I still have my weekends where I plan my meals. So I'm not waking up thinking, what am I going to eat today, or what am I going to have for breakfast, or rummaging around in my fridge to see what I can have. There's a little bit more routine around, this is what I'm going to have for breakfast, this is what I'm going to have for lunch, here's my snack, and here's my dinner. I'm still exercising and working out. I'm prioritizing my sleep. I think that's the biggest thing for me. So I'm getting a lot more sleep in. So I am going to bed earlier. I'm making sure that I try to have less kind of screen time before I go to bed to kind of help that. Drinking a lot more water. I think that was a big one as well. Trying to get my 2 liters in. And I guess just generally, I'm a lot more conscious about the food that I eat and the portions that I have. So whilst I'm not actually daily logging on my fitness pal anymore, I have still, I think over the last kind of month to 6 weeks, still maintained the weight that I'm at. Actually, Jamie, about 4 weeks ago, you kind of sent me a disciplinary saying, stop losing weight. you're not feeling hungry. I'm not actually logging stuff. I just kind of ate what I felt like I needed, but within control.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Good.
Really, really good.
Nice.
That's a solid day. So a lot around structure and routine and things like that. Do you feel like
That's the biggest, I think, that was the biggest problem for me before. When there was no structure, I would go with what my stomach felt like, or I would go with whatever was in the kitchen. But now I'm consciously thinking about what am I going to buy from my weekly shopping so that I know what I'm having for the next 3 or 4 days. And that kind of structure it leaves me more energy to be me and more energy to do the things that I like, rather than wasting energy on trying to figure out what I'm going to eat and then eventually picking something that my body's not going to thank me for later.
So a lot of people often worry that doing something like this, prioritizing themselves, is going to eat up a bunch of their time. By the sounds of it, you know, you're still making time to apply yourself at work, spend time with Jay, who's your baby boy, your wife, family, friends, and things like that. So what's the secret there? I mean, how do you get that perfect harmony of everything at the moment? Like what allows you to do that?
It's this, I mean, it's not really a secret. It's just, it doesn't take as long as you think it does. Before you go shopping, spend about 20 minutes thinking about what you want to eat for the rest of the week. You know, I chat it through with my wife and say, should we have this for breakfast? Should we have this for lunch, dinner? And we plan our kind of shopping around that. That then naturally leads into maybe planning or prepping our meals together. We do that together as a couple. So we're not actually, spending time separately from each other. We're not doing her thing and my thing. We're still spending that time together. That then kind of naturally leads into our food is already prepped. So I've now got more time to play with my baby boy. I've now got more time to focus on my work because I haven't got to go downstairs and figure out what I've got to eat before I come back for my next call. And actually we're trying to incorporate some of the kind of movement. So getting your daily steps in, incorporate that with taking Jay out for a walk, or going out for a walk in the evening before we go to bed. That has kind of just naturally made its way into our lives, so that it's just become a normal routine rather than something we have to do.
Awesome. So
the structure of your day now really just second nature.
That's it. Yeah. And once you have and it sounds super cliche, but once you have a plan, you have much more time to do all of the other stuff because you're now just following that plan. You're not wasting time thinking about what you're going to do.
Awesome. What was your biggest learning? Like coming into the program, what was the thing that was like your aha moment?
Yeah, I think you actually said it before. I think one of my first socials, it was just behave like someone that wants to lose weight. So, when you are going out, think about why you've joined the program. Think about the results that you want in the next 3, 6, 12 months and act like that now. So don't go for that second when you're at a social event. When you're at work, try and take your lunch with you. That was like a big kind of learning for me. And I think the biggest tool for me was that bank of simple, easy, repeatable meals. We've got 15, 20 different meals that we kind of cycle through, so we know what we're having and we're not thinking about what could we have today, what could we have tomorrow. We've got something that we know fits in our portions, fits in the kind of good calories, kind of calorie goal, and we can quickly make and is satisfying. We're actually in the process of, because I joined during kind of the summer months, realized my bank of meals were all kind of summery, so we're actually in the process of making a winter version of that. So swapping salads out for some soups or something a little bit more kind of warmer and heartier. And that was a really big kind of learning moment for me.
Yeah, it's a great piece of homework to do actually. And it takes a little bit of time, maybe sort of like 30 minutes or so, maybe not even that. But once it's done, I mean, you're rinsing and repeating some of the same sort of meals over a 6-month period and not getting bored. It's just so amazing. It's so amazing. So
and again, that system that we have, if people if you don't have it, and if you hadn't have done this homework, it's an easy way to fall off the wagon as well. Again, going into the cupboards, grabbing anything on the go. but yeah, you've had the plan since day one. And something that sticks out actually with Rishi was when he started, I think a few weeks later, we had one of our affinity socials at Coffees to Cocktails, and Rishi came along. And I actually watched you, Rishi, and he actually took one of everything and didn't go back for seconds.
Yeah.
So that whatever you said to him, Nick, was, act like you want to lose weight. He actually has stuck in his mind these whole 7 months he's been with us.
It's a big piece of advice. And I think, again, people often, what shall I do at a social event? How shall I behave? And things like that. And before I sort of even give any advice about, oh, take this much and do this much, look at these calories and things like that, it's just like, behave like the person you want to behave. Like, everyone is intelligent enough to know how someone who wants to lose weight, be in shape, eats versus someone who doesn't. And just start behaving and acting like that person. Like, I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, because everyone that comes in is intelligent. Everyone knows what they need to be doing. But the first thing that you need to do is, when you're at these sort of events and stuff like that, behave like the person you want to be. And it'll answer a lot of questions for you. It'll just stop you taking that second slice of cake. It'll make you think twice about, okay, full sugared Coke or Coke Zero or water even. Little things like that. This is behaving like someone who wants to lose weight, essentially.
I think that's so important, especially going into the season that we're going into now, because when it's you at home or at work, and you have the accountability of working with either of you, you have that kind of self-control. But the moment you step into a social environment and you've got your friends around you, you've got your family around you, and they're all used to seeing the old Rishi who would have 2 or 3 helpings of the food, and they've cooked accordingly to that, or go out and they're used to seeing you having 2 or 3 rounds of drinks, then that kind of peer pressure can kind of pile on. And I think it's so important, that social element, that where you have to learn quickly that you need to prioritize the person that you want to be versus the current version of you. And you don't have to just go along with whatever your family are saying or what your friends are saying, because they're used to the old you. They're not used to the you you're trying to be. And I think that's so important. And that was like the biggest learning for me, because I had my socials. There were a lot of socials that I went to. I was trying to meet all of my friends and my family before the baby came, because I knew we wouldn't be able to go and see them too much straight after. After the baby's born, everybody wants to come and see the baby. So then there's that kind of social element, and nailing that down for me was like such a big
and it was like peak of the summer as well.
Peak of the summer,
like so much housework going on and people coming round. Peak of summer. And I remember like your parents as well saying, "Oh my God, eating like portions that you used to." Yeah.
Yeah, and I would have to tell people, don't cook based on how I used to eat, because I'm going to have a lot less, and I don't want you to be upset when you see there's I'm only taking 2 Jollies rather than the 6 that I used to eat.
I think that's important as well, Rishi, that you're able to have the confidence to communicate that with the people that are closest to you. I think a lot of people are scared of doing that sort of thing, and ultimately the best way that I can put it is blame others for their lack of willpower or lack of ability to stick to something. It's like, I don't want to upset so-and-so, without even knowing if so-and-so will be upset. Have you even had that conversation with them? Are they going to actually get upset, or is this a sort of thing that you've built up in your head that they're going to get upset? So really, really important, especially in our culture as well, because it's our culture that we have this thing that we're going to upset the elders and things like that. But I think people will be sort of surprised. I think the elders are starting to catch on with what a healthy life is and what a healthy routine is and things like that. They're not as old school as people think. They're certainly not. I know, my grandparents, my parents, I'm sure Jamie, your parents and stuff are all catching on to sort of knowing, like, this is the way to eat if you're being healthy versus not. And I think people will be proud to know that, Rishi, you are looking after yourself and things like that. So,
yeah, I think it's good when you like have that kind of direct communication with your friends and your kind of elders and your family as well, because they tend to be the most direct with you. So if you can put out to them that I am doing this to make myself better, and they see you taking that second helping, someone will come over to you and say, "Oh, I thought you were doing this. That didn't last long." Did it? And that will almost kind of kick you into, no, you're right. I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, awesome.
True. So have there ever been any times where you've lacked motivation? And if there has been, then what's kept you going?
Yeah, there has been a couple of times. Just I'm a person who likes to wake up early and get stuff done. And obviously with a newborn baby, sometimes my sleep gets impacted by that. So then waking up early has kind of been a bit of a struggle. And I just remind myself why I'm doing this. I think the key thing is find your why. And I remind myself that I'm doing this for my baby boy. I want him to look back and see that I was in a healthy position and now he can live that kind of healthy life. I don't want him to be like how I was. I also remind myself how much I didn't enjoy being the old Rishi. That pain of not enjoying who I was and looking in the mirror and thinking this isn't the best version of me, that kickstarts me to get me out of bed and get what I need to get done.
Awesome. Yep, strong why, and it keeps you motivated at all times. And I guess on a final note, just what 3 tips would you give to anyone starting out on their very own journey, or maybe even to someone who's feeling a little bit demotivated? What 3 tips would you give to that individual, either starting out or someone who's a little bit demotivated at the moment?
Yes, I'd say the first one is it's okay to ask for help. That's why I reached out to you both. I thought I could do this by myself for a long time. I couldn't, and so I asked for help, and this is where I got to now. So it is so much easier when you can kind of share that burden with somebody else who's already done that before. So don't be afraid to ask that person in the gym, or reach out to somebody who you know has gone through this, or reach out to yourselves to get involved. It's okay to admit to yourself that you're not happy where you are now and you want to do something about it. And then the second tip is kind of leading on from your previous question. That motivation will be high for the first 3-4 weeks, and it will be high when you start to see your weight drop. But eventually it's got to be driven by consistency. So just showing up every day and keeping on the plan is going to drive the results that you want to see. You don't even have to show up and do 100% every single day, but just show up and try and do the best that you can, and you'll be a lot happier with where you are in the next 3, 6, 12 months. And I think make it easy and sustainable. Don't try and treat this as a kind of short-term change. Don't, like we said, chuck out all of the foods that you like eating. Don't completely shut yourself away from everybody and the outside world. Like, this has got to be a lifestyle change. So just be sensible about what you're doing, the approach that you're taking, and try and make it enjoyable so that you can do it for a longer term. That's going to really kind of drive the results that you're wanting to see.
Awesome, mate. Thank you so much for your insights. It was a great chat, man. You
really good.
Covered so much. I think listening back to this is going to be very motivating and things like that. So, bro, like, literally appreciate your time there. Thank you so much for that.
No, thank you both for helping me get to where I want to be, and looking forward to what the next few months have for us.